Welcome back to Her Career, Her Way. I'm with the lovely Calyn Coleman here today with me. We met each other at our internships. We did an internship at Coach. Calyn is 25 years old, so definitely in line with our target audience and who we're talking to. So our mission at Her Career, Her Way is all about trying to empower ambitious individuals and give them tools and strategies to help them on their chaotic journey of having a career in their 20s. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have you here. She's gone to Howard University and then she interned at Tory Burch, Coach, as well as Air Jordan, and very into the fashion industry like I am. And so I thought it would be interesting to bring her on because we were having a dinner conversation about just struggling with expectations and pressures from family and society, environment, all that noise, and kind of how to cut through that and how you've cut through it. And I'm sure it's still a process as everything is, but I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Well, it's an honor to be here. I'm so happy to be
here.
The Honorable Hazel Ann's podcast, Her Career, Her Way. I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. So touching on to some of those pressures, I think the first time I experienced that was ever since I was a little girl. So I'm a twin. I love being a twin. My twin brother is absolutely amazing. So ever since I was a little girl, my parents did an amazing job at raising us, especially my mom. Like she was working hard, like overtime, being that full-time mother role and being able to like focus on her children and put us before her career. But as all of us were growing up, she went back into the workforce, and it was time for each of us to kind of step up in our own ways. And kind of with all my siblings, the system is whoever's oldest, passes on it's like a passing on the torch of taking on responsibility of the younger one. And although we're twins and the exact same age, I am older by 15 minutes, and it counts. And of course, being a girl, and girls usually mature faster than boys, as we both know from personal experience. And so,
and take on that kind of caretaker responsibility.
Absolutely, that nurturing role. And so, my parents always told me, make sure you have your brother's back, and vice versa to him. But when we were younger, like my brother was definitely a lot more sensitive than I was outwardly. And so he kind of showed his emotions more. And of course, unfortunately, the stigma of boys shouldn't cry, men shouldn't cry. And he was a boy that cried. And like, honestly, that's one of his strengths. And at the time, didn't realize that. I looked down upon it. I would be embarrassed, to be like, oh, I don't want to be around him. Ugh. And like, I was pretty mean to him. I was definitely like a bully of a sister. He used to have this football that he would carry. Like most kids have teddy bears. He had a football because he was passionate about sports since he was a toddler. And I would like take it away from him and like run around. So like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you earned it. Yeah. But in a public setting, I would be like, I would crave this sense of freedom and individuality and wanting to not be tied to somebody else my entire life. And that's the hard part about being a twin. Shout out to the twins. Say it down below. If you're a twin, you should definitely understand what I'm saying. Like, although you might love them so much, sometimes it's hard when everything is done at the same time, or you guys shared like some of the same clothes, or have birthdays and like everything, friends and sleepovers and all this stuff. And sometimes I'm like, I just want it to be me. And so like, I felt like I had to like have this older sister role for someone who, once again, is the same age as me. And it kind of like messed with me for a long time. And growing up, once we got to like high school, that's when I noticed a shift and like really had to check myself and evaluate, like, girl, you have this relationship once in your life, and my brother does everything for me, and he will do anything, and he's amazing and will always have my back no matter what. And so there were times where I would try to like, where people at our school, I went to a predominantly white high school, and it was rich, expensive, Catholic, all the above. But shout out, it is definitely one of the better Catholic school experiences than some of the horror stories I've heard.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So, I love my alma mater, but there were times where some of those students and kids were very mean, especially to my brother. And that's when I started like gaining more of a defense for him and like
Right.
protectiveness over him. And so sometimes being, being in those spaces, if you don't have representation and people who look like you or like have some of the same values or interests, it can be isolating. I felt like he did not experience the same amount of like social
Kind of.
support
Yeah.
that I did, especially because majority of the Black people who were there were women, were girls, and those are my girls. Those are my best friends at the
Yeah.
time. We had a really strong group,
Kind of
but
sharing the same
same
values,
values and
aspirations.
aspirations, and just always inspiring each other and pushing each other, and just like loving the fact that we had some of the same like backgrounds.
Mhm.
But he did not have that. Like there few Black boys who were at our school, they were great, but I do
Mhm.
feel like they might have had some sense of like pressure to assimilate in a way.
Right.
That's just in general. And so I feel like because he didn't really want to do that, and he didn't want to have to feel like he had to conform to,
Mhm.
the rich white kids, basically. He had his own interests, and he just had a lot of alone time, and I feel like there were a lot of people who
Mhm.
didn't actually appreciate him for who he was as a person. Um, and so I felt like there was definitely times where I had to step in and be that big sister,
Mhm.
big equal sister. And it was hard, and I felt like, okay, going to college, I'm excited because this is the first time we'll be separate. Because originally he wanted to go to our families. My entire family went to Indiana University.
Okay.
You know, go Hoosiers. But I wanted to break the legacy. I wanted to go to an HBCU and have a different experience. And he was interested in continuing the legacy. And I'm really glad that he came to Howard with me,
Yeah.
because that's when our relationship really blossomed for real.
Mhm.
Um, and I felt like he had my back and he supported me, and vice versa. And like, if I could go back in time, I would do so much more, and like not feel like I regretted that pressure. But it still was hard, because even as an adult, there's times where we both make mistakes, and we're tied to the other person. Like
Yeah.
being a twin, you're tied to everything the other one does, no matter what, no
Mhm.
matter what. And sometimes that's exhausting. It's like, hey, I'm my own person and he is too.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I love him.
Of course. And
Um,
it's kind of hard to, especially in a family, to separate
mhm,
your kind of identity from them,
mhm,
especially, I'm sure, being a twin. I mean,
yeah,
I would not know that, but I
mhm.
mean, that seems so difficult.
It
And
was.
it's also really, I find it inspiring of him
Mhm.
that he didn't conform to
Oh
what your
man.
school did, because we are literally wired to
Mhm.
conform. Our brains are actually rewarding us for
Mhm.
conforming, and it's so hard to fight against that urge.
Yep.
So I really commend him for doing that,
Oh,
because
he's the
that's
coolest.
that's
He's the
going against your
coolest.
instincts, kind
He's
of.
the coolest. You could honestly like, because my brother's passionate about sports. I'm passionate about fashion and he's passionate about sports.
Very passionate
And
family, which is so
yeah,
important.
I know, right? And so you could ask him any question about like the history of any team, or, you know, any
That's insane.
analytical question, or, any stats. I know,
Mhm.
and it's funny because I'm the black sheep of the family because I don't care about sports. Sorry. But they
Oh.
love it. So, he's incredibly intelligent, incredibly smart. And I feel like people try to count him out
Mhm.
just because, like, he had a more hyper personality and maybe wasn't like into the same stuff. Like he didn't always want to party and drink and do heavy drugs as a 16, 17, or 18-year old, like not everyone wants to do that.
No.
Um,
And it's
and
so important to surround ourselves with
yeah.
people that support us
Mm-hmm.
and want us to achieve our dreams and achieve our
Exactly.
goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes really hard to come by,
Mm-hmm. And
but it helps so
exactly.
much.
And I think I know being from Indiana, when you're a black man, because I
Mhm.
think being a woman, you can, obviously being a black woman, we have our issues. There's the disparities in this, the stuff that we go through.
Mhm.
But like being a black man, if you don't fit a certain box, like if you are not an all-star athlete, like playing
Right.
basketball, playing football, and going to D1.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not talented for your what you can do for other people,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of counted out. If you're like a little nerdy, like you're not cool, and like they'll like just put you, like they'll just write you off. And so I was really happy that we both attended an HBCU, historically Black college and university, because you can be anything you want to be, any group, any niche subject, any interest, and still have people that look like you, and like, you build that confidence again. And so,
That's
yeah.
amazing because it's so important to do things for yourself and not
Mm-hmm.
for others, which
Absolutely.
was what you just said about like you're not society, and especially with racism, it's like they expect you to go on this trajectory and do things for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas really, this is your life and you're supposed to live it for you
Yep.
and do what you want. And when you're passionate about something, people will see it. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I felt a lot of that myself when I was in high school. I've always been into fashion since I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own little designer name brand because I was like, I don't have
I love
Calyn Elise Coleman. I don't really have a foreigner name. I want something that sounds like French, Parisian. I get it. Nylaki Seal. I was like, okay, which is my name backwards, my first and middle name backwards. Nylaki Seal.
little
And so
creative
I
Calyn.
was like, oh, brother. But, who knows? Maybe that'll come back. But you
No.
never
Things go
know.
viral so
The
quickly these
craziest stuff,
days.
the crazy stuff. So, when I got to high school, it's a college preparatory school. Everyone's extremely serious about their academics, as
Mm-hmm.
as I am as well. But at the time, I my strengths lied in writing, art, music. That was like where I was strongest in. And when it was math or science or STEM, and I feel like everyone around me wanted to be a doctor. They
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be in business. They wanted to do, you know,
Kind
things
of the
that I
roles that
just,
society thinks are as
yeah.
professional and cool and
Mm-hmm.
what you should be
The
doing.
lucrative careers that,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
And
like,
did your parents kind of pressure you to go into any of these like
I
roles?
have some amazing parents,
Yeah.
especially an amazing mother, because she's the one that convinced me to go in the creative route.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I got to
That's
high
amazing.
school, I lost my identity a bit. And like I found my sense of identity socially, especially with my girls.
Yeah.
But academically and career wise, I was super lost. I didn't know what I want to do because I felt like, well, what are you gonna do in fashion design? Like I feel like everyone did that Google search of how much does this role make in a year, like in a
Oh
year.
yeah. Or like the career search, what career am I fit
Yeah,
for?
exactly. And
Because we never know
so
who we are. So
we
where
don't.
we turn to is Google
Oh,
because supposedly they have the answers.
yeah, all the answers, right? Especially with AI now. So I was like, okay, well, I'm good at writing. I'm good at public speaking. I'm
Yep.
very passionate about advocacy and standing
Mm-hmm.
up for others. I like to argue a little bit. Let's do law. So I was deep in the pre-law track. I
Oh.
was a co-founder of the pre-law club at my high school, and I did all these like extracurriculars and was at this like little mini lawyer camp over the summer. Got to network a lot of the attorneys in the city. My
Mm-hmm.
father's an attorney. Like I had an amazing, on paper, I did all you needed to do. Howard is also known for a lot of pre-law students, and
Yep.
their law school is really good. And you're in DC, which is,
Kind of the
come on,
capital.
it's the capitals.
Well,
So I was like, yep, that's what I'm gonna do. And you want to know something funny? I
yeah.
was even thinking about doing the military and doing like ROTC,
Oh
and then
my
eventually going
gosh.
to like
That's
what I think be an
crazy.
officer and like do the JAG program, which is like the military,
Yeah.
military law, and
Wow.
being, yeah.
And so how did you shift from law to fashion? Was it just kind of overnight or was it
Girl,
just like,
it was
what am I
overnight.
doing with my
It
life?
was overnight. Honestly, my mom, because I already got accepted to Howard, and like
Mm-hmm.
I was a sociology major. I was like planning to do a double major in sociology and like poli sci,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's always the double
it's the
majors.
double majors and like doing all that.
Now, the double major isn't a thing in the UK.
It's not,
Not really.
because
There's
it's,
a
what's the
joint honors
point?
degree, but
What's the point?
honestly,
It's really just the flex.
I asked people in the US about their majors and they give me their double majors, they give me their minors,
Minors.
and I'm like,
Hmm.
sorry, so what are you studying again? What are you passionate?
At
And
this
it's okay to
point,
have so many passions, and I think
right?
that's actually kind of the good thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also sometimes feel like we can spread ourselves too thin, or we want
Mm-hmm.
to have so much on our kind of external documents
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, that we don't actually kind of look inward and see, like, what do I actually want?
Absolutely. And that conversation, that question is what my mom had. Like, she asked me that, like, I think a month before I got to campus. She was like, hey,
She caught you.
she caught me. She got me. And she was just like, listen, I know my daughter. I know you very well. And, before you get into this, before you start this journey, because Howard is somewhere I wanted to be for a very long time, you know, is it too late to apply for the fashion program? Like,
Mhm.
just try it. You're so talented. I was drawing since I was like 3 years old.
Mhm.
Um, I want to see you push yourself. So I did. I applied. I got in, and
Oh my gosh.
it was
And you knew
that,
it.
and I knew it.
Yeah.
But high school was a hard time because I just felt like I didn't fit in. I mean, academically, I was strong. I was an honor student, NHS. We talked about National Honor Society.
It's not
Yeah,
that important to
it's
get
not that
in.
important. But
It's
like
not.
at the time, you're like, I have to get
At the
in.
time, everything seemed so.
Everything seemed
Yeah.
like it was a big deal. It
Mhm.
was, if you didn't get into this or apply for that, you
Yeah.
just were a failure. And that pressure from school, even my peers, like if they got a B on an exam, they were ready to pull their hair out. And it's like, whoa.
I think we're so quick to kind of judge ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
kind of go to that character flaw instead
Mm-hmm.
of kind of looking at maybe the external circumstances about how
Mm-hmm.
our brain is wired, maybe that we have something that other kids don't struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just really interesting how when we don't get an A plus, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure.
I'm a
But if
failure.
somebody else gets an A plus, you're kind of like, huh, maybe they just got lucky. Or like, there's something else going on.
Hey, and like I knew a lot of people just didn't study. I mean, there was times where there were certain subjects I really didn't have to study for, and I could ace the test.
Mhm.
But that's a bad habit because once you get to college, it's like, oh no, you need to study. You need to practice these skills. Even with testing, like in high school, I think junior year, either junior year or senior year, is when I officially got diagnosed with ADHD,
Mhm.
as well as depression and like other mental health related issues that were just so new to me. I didn't really understand what was going on. So I'll never forget Mr. Elliott in
Shout
pre-cal.
out.
Shout
Shout out to
out,
Mr.
man,
Elliott.
or pre-algebra. It was either pre-algebra, pre-cal, one of them.
Don't even get me on pre-calc.
One of
That
them.
class is
He was
mm,
so sweet. Him and like I had some other professors as well,
yeah.
who were just supportive because I was the last person every
Yeah.
single time to finish my test. Every time. Every time.
And that's so hard. Yeah. And I mean, I can't even think about like everybody's finished and you're like, why am I not done
Oh,
with this
it's
yet?
embarrassing. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. You think you're like I thought it was stupid. I was like, am I just like do I
But you're
need to be
not.
here? Like I had imposter syndrome and I'm not. I was
Yeah.
not. And when we were able to get like the accommodations handled and I went to
Mhm.
the testing room where everyone else who had accommodations were in too.
With it.
But people at the time, like I just don't think people were as open in talking about it. Like it really
Yes.
was
No,
like
yeah.
if you had accommodations and you went to go to the different testing room, it was almost like the people you found in there, you were like, whoa, I never knew this about you. Like they
Mhm.
kind of kept it hidden. I mean, I don't think anyone's trying to like make that their personality trait or like the
Right.
first thing you know about
Well,
them. Well,
we can get into a whole nother discussion. But
yeah,
yes.
but you know, it that was like, wow, I'm not alone. Wow, I'm not stupid, or wow, I'm not
Yeah.
this, I'm not that, and that felt nice. And then to come to college, come to an HBCU, and experience that was really great. Oh, and let me not forget at the time, like I love my mother. We have an amazing relationship. But during those teenage years, especially later end of high school,
Mhm.
we definitely bumped heads a lot. And I think home life was a little rough. I felt like there was a lot of pressure to be perfect or to
Mhm.
excel.
Because you kind
Yeah.
of felt like everything was crumbling around you, that you had
Mm-hmm.
to be the one to have it all together. So you
Yeah, I
weren't
had to
the burden or whatever.
exactly. I didn't want to burden
Yes.
anybody,
Yep.
and like, I had people in like my family who didn't get to finish college for their own like valid reasons, but then my parents kind of do like the comparison thing
Ah.
of like, hey, you got to be the one to knock it out the park. You got to be the one to make it. You got to be the one to do this, that, there, blah, 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 that. And my
that's
parents have
stressful.
grown, and it's so stressful. My parents have grown so much since then.
Yeah.
We've all done therapy. We've all like worked through it, and it's like, maybe we could have done some things differently. And you do the best thing you can. You do the best you can, and you also just
Then now
you raise your children based off of what you know, the best you know, and they can only be better than their predecessors, and same as us. So it's like I can take what I've experienced, what I loved and didn't love so much about my upbringing, and I can only pass that down to hopefully my future children. But my mom, we had some conversations recently where she was like, I think back on some of the things I used to punish you for, like chastise you for, that was really just you being undiagnosed and me not knowing how to like navigate that, because I didn't really know or understand like their generation. That's not existing. If you didn't do what you were supposed to do, or if it wasn't in a timely fashion, or if it just wasn't in the way that it was like supposed to be structured, you got punished. Or normal, and like if you're not normal, then it was a lot. So
or like if you're not working hard enough or you're not focusing enough,
the immediate resort is you're lazy. You're lazy.
You're
You just don't care. And there were times where like I'm like, do I not care? Like, am I lazy? Because you put in so much effort and you still feel like you're 3 steps behind. And so that's where like that confidence starts to drop. Even in sports, like I was a varsity track athlete as a freshman, and as I progressed throughout my high school career, like there was a lot of things that went on like mentally, and I feel like I regressed. I didn't understand how to deal with what was going on in my mind. Sometimes you can mask it well. If you're really good at masking, I think women, period, are really good at masking. Because we're so good at masking.
So good.
Like
putting on a facade and just
put on your lip,
pretending that you're okay, you're succeeding,
put on your lip gloss, throw your heels on, and you push through. Like even the symbolism of heels, like those hurt. They freaking hurt and they're uncomfortable, but I look good. I love them. Like and you push yourself to just push through the pain.
Yeah.
Even though, you don't always have to. Going through college, although I had an amazing experience in many ways, it also was just as stressful, if not more than high school.
Right. Because you're finding yourself.
And like both of us, go to really academically rigorous schools. And so being around another set of intelligent students and competitive people, and who all want to go to the top and sometimes will drag others down to get there. I've been through that. It's that pressure all over again, but it's just even bigger because now you're navigating real life things. You don't have the cushion of adulting. And you mess up, you're broke, you're maybe you skip a class or two and you're just like, oh, okay, well, let me not do that again. There were a lot of like hard lessons to learn, and COVID did not make it better. The pandemic, like, really put a stain on it.
Definitely want to do an episode about how the pandemic has affected our generation. I think we're still, as a society, kind of processing what even happened. But I kind of want to get back to when you kind of were applying to these internships and kind of building your career in that way. How did you kind of cut through the noise and the pressure of what people wanted for you and where they thought you should go to, and go to where you wanted to, where you're headed now?
That's an amazing question. The pandemic's actually a great segue into this because, so just to give some context, it took me a little longer to finish school than like the average person. So it was over 4 years. And so there's no timeline, but that was like, that was a big thing for me. And there's times where it still can be, but I'm making the best out of it. And that's what matters. But pandemic was an important time. Although it was horrible in many ways, it was beneficial because it cut the noise and the distractions of being on campus and like
literally cut the noise.
Like literally, like and so, you have nothing but time for yourself and to just think and to really be with your own thoughts. And I took that time to be like, I really, really want to get in this industry. I really want to be successful. And the beauty of this time period was also like, of course, that's when like George Floyd was happening and the
Mm-hmm.
protests and Black Lives Matter movement. And so that's when companies were starting to really do a big push on, hey, like we need to be more inclusive. So there were some really
Yep.
dope programs that were starting up, and a lot of people, really wanting to cut through the noise of like the exclusionary aspect of the fashion industry and try to like bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when like I was just researching programs like crazy. Like I think I could probably find my notes app of all
Oh
the
my
different,
gosh.
like the long list of things that I was like researching. I'm like, okay, and I was like studying,
Mm-hmm.
I was like stalking a lot of my peers Instagram pages who like students who were above me,
Mm-hmm.
who I looked up to a lot, and were doing the things I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, they did this program at this time, so I'm gonna blah blah. And I made like a whole like bucket list of what I wanted to achieve before I left Howard. And I could say like I completed about 90% of that bucket list and then some.
I've taken a look at your
And
LinkedIn. I've taken a look.
my LinkedIn is not updated, guys. Like I don't even have the coach internship on there yet. Like I took a break from social media,
But you
but
did it.
I did it.
You wrote down, you used other people's inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
not as kind of judgment and feeling
Mm-hmm.
like you were behind, but inspiration.
Yeah.
And you went out and did the work,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
look at
made
where
a
you
way.
are.
I
You're in
I'm
Milan.
in Milan. We're in
Crazy.
Milan. We are in
We are in Milan.
And that's crazy. The fact that we met each other is insane.
But that's the thing. Like, you can meet from people from all walks of life,
Mhm.
and you never know. And so we always fixate on like how we're gonna get this
Mhm.
done and how we're gonna achieve this X, Y, and Z, but we never stop to think like some things just like come organically when we
You
do
can't
and
force
show
it.
up.
You
All you
can't
have to do is
force it.
show up.
Just show up, even if
Yeah.
it's not your best self. And I have showed up looking crazy.
Haven't we all?
Literally and figuratively. And so and so it's just never giving up. The timeline is the biggest pressure in my life, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one. Because when you start seeing some of your peers that you came in with like leaving and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, like what's happening? It's just it's interesting just trying to see like what's for me, which doors were opening and then like closed, and like which
Mm-hmm.
better ones, were just right behind that I didn't realize. And so, yeah, like cutting the noise, I just hyper focused. When I hyper fixate, it's pretty intense. And
Yeah.
so and so if I want something, I'm gonna get it. And
It's a good trait to have.
it's a good treat to have. I don't always get it though. I don't always do. But
Yeah.
it's the journey that I learned, like what you learn through the journey is what
Mm-hmm.
matters the most and what you take away. Because every L I had turned into a lesson. I know. I know.
Exactly. They're always like stepping stones. You think they're kind of things that will drag you down or
Mm-hmm.
you're behind, but really they're just lessons for you to acknowledge and grow and then have helped
Absolutely.
you succeed into what you're doing now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, kind of going back into the pandemic, when I was applying for my very first internship, it was with Brandis Daniel, Harlem's Fashion Row. And
Mhm.
she had an HBCU retail, it was like a retail math program or
Cool.
retail internship
Interesting.
program. We got in, and like, well, you applied, you got accepted.
Yep.
And then it was like weeks of just like training and learning about the fashion industry and like retail
Amazing.
math and like understanding how to do certain calculations and understanding just fashion period and like the corporate life, because that
Hmm.
was my introduction to corporate world. She has done amazing work with her brand HFR. Like you should
Wow.
see their New York Fashion Week show that they just did. She was actually she's the one who put me on to my very first New York Fashion Week show that I helped
Wow.
assist with. That was in 2021,
That's amazing.
September 2021. I will never forget. I literally cried. I was on this. She had it in the streets of Harlem,
Hmm.
and they like decorated it, put the runway out, and she had all these young black designers who may not have had like the financial assistance to do what they did, but they had the talent and the drive and the
Hmm.
passion. So she financially supported them
Wow.
and gave
That's
them that
incredible.
platform. And seeing that, I was like, whoa, this is what I want to do.
Yep.
That's what I want to do.
Giving people the platform to
Mhm.
express themselves creatively
Absolutely.
and achieve their dreams.
Absolutely. And so at the end of the program, there was like a pitch competition, like where you chose a brand or you were given a brand and you had to do like a case study on them and then present. And I was one of the three that got selected and won. And
Wow.
The prize was an immediate offer of an internship with a corporate company. And so I got my very first like merchandising role that way. And I was like, oh, and it was crazy at the
Amazing.
time because I was the youngest of the program.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 20, 21, and everybody was like graduating college and like going into like their master's programs, and they were all in business school. And I was like, why am I here? So that was another like moment where I felt pressure and I felt like,
Yeah.
am I good enough? Am I,
It's
you
crazy how
know,
easy it is to doubt
oh my
ourselves.
gosh. It's like every time you elevate and you step into another space where you're meant to be in, it's just that initial reaction to just doubt
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Or even people, so I have a lot of friends who do this thing where like even though they're extremely smart or like extremely talented, they'll just like self-deprecate or make
Mm-hmm.
self-deprecating jokes just to kind of like mask it so they don't come across as
Yeah.
chauvinistic or cocky. And I hate it. I really hate it because
We
that's
need to stop apologizing for our
mm-mm.
strengths
Mm-hmm.
and start owning it
Own that
and feel
shit.
that worth
Own
because we
it.
deserve it.
We
Yeah.
do. So yeah.
I think I want to ask you one last question, which is
Okay.
kind of what advice would you give to your younger selves and those out there feeling the
Oh.
pressure?
Oh man. Listen, y'all. I'm gonna talk to you. Please understand that you will make mistakes. You will mess up. You will miss that deadline. You will have that door close in your face, but it does not mean it's the end all be all. There are a lot of things in my life that have happened to me that, there's times where I felt like I didn't even want to be on this earth anymore. Had I given up in those moments, I would have not seen the rewards of all that hard work that paid off. Like Hazel Ann said, we're in Milan. This is the fashion capital of the world. I never thought I would be here at this time. And it's funny because I never got the opportunity to do study abroad in
Mm.
undergrad. So the program that I'm doing, because I graduated this spring, and they allow people to apply, like be a part of the internship program, like post grad, up to 3 years.
Mm.
And this specific one is actually unpaid. Like my New York one was paid, but this one actually isn't. I have some other like apprenticeship stuff that's like
Mm.
based in the US right now that I am going to get paid for. So don't worry, I'm still going to get some money. But
That's
like I feel
important.
like you're right, but I feel like some people are like, bro, why would you do this? Like, blah, blah, blah. It was a risk. And, I didn't have the financial aid from my school anymore because I don't go there anymore.
Right.
And I had to figure out and pull the money out. And like my family was so supportive with that. I would not be here without them. I would not be here without my mom. I would not be here without my dad. Um, but I say that to say, like, take the risk, jump into the deep end, jump into the deep end, bro. Like, you never know. And this is only week one. This is
Mm-hmm.
actually the end of my very first week here. I'll be here
Yes.
until December. So I have some time. I will have some growing pains, but I'm excited for what I'm going to take from this and what I'm going to do with it because that full time offer will happen. Many of my fellow 25-year-olds and like mid 20-year-olds know this. Like, the job market's really hard for a lot of my peers.
I know it too.
Yeah, like
I'm not even
everybody, all of
25.
us, all of us, all of
Yeah.
us 20 somethings, like
It's it's
it's
it's hard.
really hard right now. And so that was another thing. It's like, okay, I don't have an immediate job offer. What am I gonna do with this? And so I was like, F it, like I'm gonna just keep doing like roles
Mm-hmm.
that even if it's not like the top position or whatever, you still need that experience. So time, everything happens for a reason. I
Mm-hmm.
have that tattooed on me on my thigh.
Love it.
Everything happens for a reason. Time is of the essence, but there is no timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is
On
doing
their
their
own
own
path.
on their own path, and
And don't let
we gotta
fear
sit.
stop
Don't
you.
let fear stop you. The comparison is a thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in the moment. Reflect on the amazing things you've done. Like I know, especially if you're goal oriented and driven, you're usually always thinking forward and like, what's next? What's
Mm-hmm.
next? Okay, I did that. Great. Check. What's next? Let's just take a moment to
Mm-hmm.
settle, sit down, and really like thank yourself for getting here and
Mm-hmm.
achieving that and celebrate the wins. I don't celebrate my wins, but I'm gonna just last thing, like just never give up and keep fucking going. So
yes. Well, thank you so much, Calyn, for coming on our episode.
It's been a pleasure.
You said so many insightful things that I think the listeners I can take away from as well. Yeah. I hope you guys took away something. I mean, obviously you did. Like the quotes at the end were amazing.
Man.
So, and yeah, just really never stop giving up. And I hope this will help give you the tools and strategies to how to cut through the noise. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It is an honor. I can't wait for this podcast to blow up. Aww. She's gonna have her own network, y'all. Like, just please engage, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all. So
then we can hear from
so wonderful guests
like Calyn.
And like, I was going to say we have to do this again, and I can't wait to see where we both will be in our lives by then. So we have a forever friendship now, and I can't wait to keep it growing. So,
thanks for listening. See you in the next episode.
Ciao.
Ciao.